Hey Robert. Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
That didn't quite catch you there.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, you did.
Cool. Nice to meet you. Hi Igor.
Oh, can you hear me? Hey,
Yeah,
how are you? You all right?
good, good. I'm struggling with my with my headphones. Uh,
Hi, Rob. You and you all right here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been
Oh,
lurking around for a little bit, but haven't come to the London one yet. Um, so
fair enough.
and Robert,
Welcome
you
to the
are.
club.
Hey Ibrahim.
Oh, hi guys, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good,
I
thank you. Have I missed a lot?
no, we
Sorry?
just started. I think we're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
gonna.
we just started.
Oh,
Yeah, I
great.
I was the usual headphone setup. When 1 minute long is you are in the Bluetooth menu and switching on and off until you manage. Lauren is here. Lauren, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Thanks. Love the
Cool.
background.
Hi. Yes, this is the Gemini image generation from last week or 2 weeks ago, and now GPT has a new image model. This is the same level as Gemini. And Ibrahim and Rob, have you been into the global sessions as well? On
yeah, yeah. So I've
Uh,
mostly been to listen.
I have watched some of the replays, but I haven't been to live ones. The London one is the only one that I'm attending live.
Right, right, because we are we are usual visitors with Lauren, Igor, and myself, and a few others on Thursdays and Fridays. Um,
Yeah,
but obviously it's not so easy to memorize everybody on that long list on Friday afternoons, you know.
yeah, sure. And where is the registration for that? Maybe I would like to, maybe it would be great to just join one's live session. I think there was a WhatsApp group, but they said that it was very full, so I didn't follow them quite often.
Yeah, so Discord it's a much bigger capacity, I guess.
Okay,
So do you know the Discord invite link is on the agentics.org website.
okay, I'll have a look. Thanks, thanks.
Once you sign up, join, then you get the Discord, and it's much better than WhatsApp because of the quantity of the people.
Anything I
Uh,
found with that is that sometimes the links are wrong. There's a few like wrong links hanging around that send you off to a different
Yeah,
meeting. Or
there
whatever it
yeah,
is. Yeah, I think they're
is.
working on fixing that.
but what's the best is just follow Ruben on
Yeah, that's what I
LinkedIn,
usually do.
and
Yeah,
he posts the Zoom all the time,
yeah, that's what
every
I
week.
usually.
I'm trying to log in now.
I just put the link to the Discord. If you click on that, it will redirect you as an invite link.
Okay, cool.
I met Ibrahim in real life, by the way, before.
Really?
Yes.
I think, Lauren, we met on this call a couple of times. I was mostly listening, did my best to contribute. So I'm putting
No,
my toes recently.
we met in at some party,
Oh,
a blockchain event.
oh, really? That might be
Yes.
interesting.
Hmm.
Sorry, I can't remember. Which one? Was it Token 2049 or mm, I don't know. Do you remember which one was that?
Lauren, you're muted.
I was just thinking, made such an impression. But we're connected on LinkedIn. It was
Yeah.
a Solana party, I think. I was
Oh,
after an event. Zebu Live, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, I think that was like 1.5 year ago, 1 year ago. We actually, a bit of a background, I'm part of the co-founder of the mobile gaming studio Ginger Joy. So we're spin-off from a mobile to web to game publisher, and we were invited with the Solana team. Yeah, that was an interesting event.
Small world, guys, eh?
Sorry?
I said small world.
It is indeed, and then it's
Yeah.
connected from blockchain. Now it's the agentic world.
Yeah.
I guess the AI word is small as well, or yet. Maybe not in 5 years, but
Growing for sure.
Well, it's
growing.
growing much faster than the blockchain from the early days of the blockchain compared to that's amazing.
And what's happening with crypto now? Is it the era is over now? Or what can we expect? Because
Well, it is still trying to find the product market fit with the different hypes, with the different narratives, trying and the stable coins and the real world assets it has been a big thing and it's getting bigger. Lots of my friends are now working on the tokenizing of the actual government funds and yield bearing stablecoin yield bearing assets. That's a hot topic. It had been a hot topic for a while, not to mention the CDBD. So yeah, and gaming certainly didn't find it as like product market fit, at least not yet, apart from the hypes and
yeah, there
all
was some
yeah.
promising stuff last year. It, with marketing campaign, you could go into millions, hundreds, millions of US dollars if you marketed your game well.
Yeah, it is. There had been couple nice attempts, but again, it's like a sparkle. It just flares up and then fades down. It's not finding a sustainable business model yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
And what's your familiarity? Everybody, of course, I know Igor and Lauren, but Rob and Ibrahim with Cloud Code and this Agentics CLI system. Are you advanced?
I've been
I,
using it loads, so yeah, I've pretty much built stuff into it. I've been waiting to put PRs and stuff through, so I've gone that far with it, and yeah, so I've used that quite significantly. I've been doing AI for a very long time, since like 2017, so I've been part of that that's when I graduated university and came out, and was all focused on AI, so I've kind of followed it through since then, and then also ended up here. It's been quite interesting. It's very interesting kind of like stuff. I love the swarm stuff. That's my favorite parts of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, because if anybody wants to present or anything that you want to show off what you did, I have something to show if there's if there's time.
You show. I was just going to share my little calendar. It's like a silly little calendar I made.
Okay, you want to start?
No, you start because I need to get it. I need to get my.
Oh, okay. So everybody's familiar with plugins and skills and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Share.
I've been actually using Codex recently since 5.2 came out. I was a heavy Cloud Code user, but then been using just the GPT 5.2 model recently. It's been really good. I'm pretty impressed with it. I
I
was
have
saying to
Yeah,
Lauren on a call the other day that it was really good.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I started as well using
Yeah.
Codex.
I haven't tried it yet, but I have been practicing the different like the frameworks like BMS and Ruvet's the stack as well. So instead of the actual models, I have been more focusing on delivering small things, but actually some of the agenting frameworks implementations with not, I don't want to say in an enterprise level, but in a level that I can sustainably continue developing in a long term rather than just a few prompts delivery kind of small projects. It was interesting to understand the grasp of it. And so I like to learn by making my hands dirty. That is the starting point that I have, how I started. And yeah, I don't have anything to demonstrate, but if you have any questions about the framework, how it works, the thought model, but the best practices, I'm more than happy. I have been using it for quite excessively for a long time, like long time is like 3 months, but very heavily. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Robert, what I would say in this little world, a few months is a long time because things keep changing so quickly.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it seems
That's
that way.
very true. Even with the framework,
Three
when I
generations of
started,
BMAD method.
yeah, I started with 4, and then I have like now 15 alpha versions. So I already seen the
It's
16 different versions, like version 4, and then 15 versions of the version 6.
yeah.
I'd be interested to hear more about the BMAD method, by the way.
It's really, really good, Laura.
Uh,
Like really worth learning.
Yeah, I think it serves a different purpose. If you're very familiar with the, the reverse stack with the swarms and the spec, the agent DB memorization, all that stuff. So that's a different way. This is more about acting uh, like the software development has with the agile methodology in place as the built-in framework. But then it has a module builder where you can build as your own company practices. So you don't need to be stick on that specific framework. But overall, the documentation, it is very well defined. And for someone who's not familiar with the software development lifecycle, that is very educating. And for someone who's in the software development lifecycle, that's very structural so that you can expand with the team. So I'm quite enjoying it. But it slows you down for sure. Like, don't expect to deliver the same thing at the same time. Just you do with vibe coding.
Cool.
I think
Interesting.
it really the agents in V6 especially that you can build custom agents much more easily than in V4. You really like I use it a lot in personal projects. And it's much slower, but like the results are a lot more consistent. Like I spend
Yeah,
much less time like vibe debugging than like vibe
exactly.
coding, I guess. But I'm
And
also learning how to use like try and build similar stuff in open code
yeah,
because
well,
it
I think
worked.
you can use the codecs underneath as well, right? That is the framework. So I think it supports the codecs.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I use all of them like with the BMAD method, but what I'm trying to say is I just want a slightly more lightweight version of it, but
I
like
see.
my own, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible that
What,
someone could share an example of what they've done with the BMAD method?
I haven't
The thing
prepared
Just
I
think
anything, but I'm
easily worth.
happy to share.
I'm
Uh,
trying to share mine just very quickly. Very useful stuff from Chris Barlow. Maybe you remember him from New Zealand, and he did a Cloud Flow coaching skill. I shared the GitHub in the chat, and it's very useful. So I usually don't like to start Cloud Flow on my own local setup. I use it in code spaces, but the coach you can start locally. I think it's called Flow Coach, and it's extremely useful if you are new or if you are just beginning with Cloud Flow, because you can just try without installing Ruben's library. It can give you open up the code spaces in another window, and in the local window you just run the coach, and you can ask questions. So it's extremely well written. It's a very nice method to teach you to use Flow. And he has another one in his repo, the agentic coach. So you can start with a vague prompt, and then it teaches you how to think as an agentic engineer. So this is the
Very useful.
think I wanted to show you guys. Feel free to fork it. You know, Ruben's documentation, I mean, the team's documentation is not always accurate
It's also
and not
very hard
always
to read.
very hard to read.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find it very hard as well.
And it's Chris, coach is like having Ruben standing next to you and explaining stuff. You can share your outputs that I don't understand this and that, memory, vector, rule vector, agent DB. Can you explain it to me? I have this prompt. Why do I get an error message? And then it gives you idea what to ask from Cloudflow, additional ideas. So I found it incredibly useful because before this, I was totally blind, just using it as instinctively and trial error. And it costs a lot, to run. You deplete even your pro account is an hour, is gone in an hour.
Yeah, this would have been super. Yeah, like when I first started using it, like I'm even just reading the skills that I'm doing is pretty useful. You can just read that and almost learn more quite a lot about how it all works and how it all holds together. Because I remember when I first started using this, it was very difficult to work out how it all held together and what did what. And it wasn't until I kind of went to the like more global meetings that I kind of started to work it out, and then I just had to read loads of documentation, and it became quite cumbersome. But yeah, this is quite good from what I can see so far. Thank you.
Right. So if anybody wants to share the BMAT, that's what you meant, Lauren, right?
Well, I am trying
Yeah.
to figure out if I can prepare something very quickly. So maybe if someone can show something else, I can make it ready in a couple of minutes.
I don't have anything ready off the top of like presentation, but I was gonna say is that I built most of the hackathon task using the BMAT method. So the stuff that I did for the recommendation system, I built a lot of that using BMAT agents.
Do you want to show?
Yeah, I'd have to log in from a different computer.
What is the difference between the two? Why would I choose BMAT over Cloudflare? What is the
Uh,
general like
well,
what is the use
BMAT,
case and purpose of it? Is kind of
okay, I'm more experienced on the BMAT, but what I understand when I compare the flow is much more technically capable of learning from everything, all the real vector, the agent DB, the memorization. So there's lots of optimization technically that helps to build and make it more productive.
yeah.
And the development is spec-driven in the flow. Again, I haven't used it as much. I only did 2 tutorials, so that means like I only worked for a couple of days. But in the BMAT, so all those specs, you have the business analyst agent, which has all the skills of market research, brainstorming, and then the flow is all well defined. So all the agents and the workflow of the agents are well defined. When you start the project, you spend much more time to well defining the project brief, and from that you take it to the architect, and then you discuss about the architect, and then you go through the user interface and user experience, and they're all specific agents purposefully built for supporting those ones. And then there's this PM where it creates the whole epics, and then the Scrum Master that defines the whole individual text. I think the recent version has changed, but what I really loved about the story, breaking the epics to story levels is it creates a technical context. So the documentation is living documentation, just like your GitLog history, Git history. And it is so much well defined that all those hallucinations or what you have been describing from before, you're not losing them. So it is well defined, very long running task, but uh, it's kind of like as like I say, the Git log you build on top of it, even though it hallucinates or if it doesn't deliver the same way that you wanted, it is because probably you didn't make a good effort for creating the context.
Okay,
So
interesting.
so that's more about like an agents and the workflows. And what I like, slightly like this is a slightly different. flow is using the underneath skills of the cloud when it is using. And I think Igor, you mentioned recently, all the existing agents has a way of well, you can extend the existing agents. So depending on the framework, like the project that you are working, your dev is not a generic dev. Now you can just say, I'm working on this kind of projects, and then you just one command to rebuild the agent. So it it has much more context about what you're building and the thought process. Let let me at least show that one.
Okay, that's interesting.
I was just going to show something because whilst we are busy, just going to show something really light I mocked up with Claude. So then if
Right.
people can see my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice snowfall.
Yeah. So it's a little calendar. So let's log out. So basically, it was just like 25 days of learning Agentics.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
And
Is that you? My
yeah,
friends shared me those links. Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
you were
so no, that might not be mine. There's probably loads. So I've got another version which I haven't tested yet, but I thought I could check it, but I don't know if it'll work. So this one, it like asks you questions, but it's on trust, right? So it tells you, can you do stuff? And you say you've done it and it marks it as complete. Well, I don't really like that. So I did another version so we can try we can try that version so that you could actually type into the code. So I asked Claude to like make it interactive.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't quite yet know if it works. The only thing was the first thing it did was I had 25 days and it only gave me back 3 days. So it's like, oh, do I take that? So we shall we shall play live and see if it works.
Yeah, like a multiplayer.
No, it's not multiplayer. So the whole thing was I said I want to learn Agentics and break it down to 25 days. And I basically did like a CI workflow, continuous deployment. So every day when you fix it, so if I show you like the GitHub, it actually updates the README.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay,
so
so using that as kind of like a memory kind of situation, like so it knows what it's already taught you.
yeah,
Okay,
but I mean,
along.
right now I didn't actually fix the. I didn't actually fix it properly. Let me see, because originally it was just would do it only in GitHub. Then I thought if I do it only in GitHub, it's not accessible, and that's how I moved to try to do a front end of it. So I'm going to um show you, share this tab. So this is like the README. Can you see? This is my GitHub.
No,
No,
you're
we can't.
sharing the
And can
game.
just see your screen, like just your window kind of.
Oh, it says sharing this tab.
Maybe
It's not
stop
showing. Am I
sharing and
not?
resharing.
Yeah.
Oh, so it says
Yes.
it told me I was sharing it. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom is so buggy. It's fantastic. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, it
I'll touch
told
this.
me it told me I was sharing it. Okay,
No, yes.
all right. Right, what does it say here? So you see
Mm.
this Agentics Advent Calendar, right? And
Right.
so I'm going to do day one, right? It says, okay, wait about 15 seconds, but it's a lie. You have to click create. And what's going to happen is the README should update at some point.
Hmm.
And
So it's GitHub automation is switched on.
Yes. And when it updates, it should tell us. So what's the issue here? Day 1, the repository has been opened. Close this issue and see. So let's see what the README says. So if we look at it, that's day 1 in the README, right? So basically I could work through all the steps. So this step, to complete the next day, I need to push this file and it will keep completing the days for me and it will just go for all the days of my repo. But then I thought to myself, oh, this is so complicated. Let me make it into a website, which is how we ended up with the website.
Okay. I mean, it makes a lot more sense to me. Your approach sounds a lot more robust and
Which approach?
using the website rather
Yeah.
than trying to use the GitHub.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, it's like a step by step. It's like you're creating these markdown files. Then I thought, okay, I'll do this website, right? And I hadn't, so I don't know. So Robert and Ibrahim, you weren't here because we all took part in the hackathon. So I've got this idea of like doing things like really small and then building on them. So for the website again, so the next part I did was that, okay, I had it working with GitHub. I could spend ages working out how to do the GitHub authentication, which I do know, but I thought, but that's not really the task at hand. So I faked it. So rather than doing GitHub for now, so you see it's got here too. If I come out of this page and come back, it's stored in my storage, local storage. If I log out, it removes the stuff from local storage so I can restart again. I thought once I figured out the mechanism of this working, then next bit I will do is connect it to GitHub. And that was the next phase. But then I thought, okay, still connecting to GitHub, an app that connects to GitHub is not unique to my app. So I paused that again and I thought, okay, next step I will do is try to work out this interactive in the website. So rather than, here it tells you, what did it say here? Define Python, import Anthropic, and do these tools. So I went to Claude and I asked Claude, we can look at what I asked Claude if you want. I asked Claude to update it for me and it updated it. And I haven't tested it, so we can test it together. So as I was talking, I will show the updated site, which will be broken maybe. And it's the beautiful thing is to see like when you work in like really micro steps and when things break, because it's so granular, it's easy to roll back on roll. And sometimes whilst it's really exciting, people are like, oh, I burnt so many tokens. And it's like, well, what's happening? And there's so many tiny little areas and not majorly broken. You have to spend even longer trying to fix it than you would normally. So that's just my little lessons learned.
Yeah, I found that too as well, and building it modular with components, it's invaluable because when I had this 2,500 lines, Claude couldn't digest it at all and made mistakes. But
Yes.
when you have these 50 lines components, Claude will love it.
I like to do it just because it kind of aligns with just kind of old school dev, making how you make features and keeping them like to specific kind of things rather than trying to just build the whole app and push it all into Git. I like to obviously keep it into little like essentially feature requests or fixes or
But it's so much fun when
changes.
you see this whole thing come to life, though, instantly. It's like
Yeah.
an instant dopamine hit. So I also understand that part as well.
Yeah, but it's just
Yeah.
so quick to blow everything up for yourself, and then you're like, oh, I've got so much to fish through now. This is such a pain. Because I like, but yeah, personally, I agree with your approach of breaking it down into smaller tasks and then just getting it to fulfill the smaller tasks. And then I found that a lot more productive as well. But
Okay, and a slight segue, whilst I try to build this page up again, is that I don't know if any of you saw my LinkedIn post. So I generated 2.5 men today. not today, this week, right? For my app.
2.5 Men.
Yes. Do you
What
know
was
what that
that?
is? It's a sitcom.
Yeah, it
Okay,
sounds
yeah,
familiar,
yeah.
but I can't remember.
Okay, well,
Charlie Sheen, kind of. It's Charlie Sheen.
if I show you, you will think. So this was generated purely from my app. So another lessons learned. So I've gone away to fix my app, but it turns out I probably shouldn't have fixed my app.
Are you sharing it now?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the video. If not, it's on my LinkedIn page. It's just this is recorded, so I don't really know if I want my LinkedIn page on there.
No, that's pretty fair.
I want to. Well, some of you probably know where my LinkedIn is. Let me try to get this thing again.
Yeah, while you are searching, I want to ask Igor, how do you find switching between Codex and Claude? The feeling.
Very easy. You mean the workflow wise, or do I think the model is better?
Just I noticed that Claude will disclose a lot with you until when it's working, explain and stuff, and Codex is just quietly working in the background, and 10 minutes later you've got something. So
You
it's
can adjust
nothing.
the verbosity in the settings, in the Tumblr
Uh-huh.
settings. You know how to do that or not?
I used to know, but I didn't touch it for half a year now, since the first.
Okay, I put something in the chat for you, but you can ask ChatGPT or I guess Claude, but better ChatGPT. What are all the settings available? But there's a flag in the settings where you could change the model verbosity.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
you can make it more detailed. But I also find, just as a general note, that the telemetry is not as good as in Claude. You can make the model like tell you more stuff, so it's not as mute as it was when out of the box. But I do find that the whole it doesn't tell you how far it's gone down the to-do list and stuff. Like, yeah, it's not the same, but I think it's once you adjust the verbosity, it's much better. Wait, I'll send you links.
Okay, cool, thanks. And
Uh,
sometimes Gemini CLI is useful, for
Yeah,
a second opinion.
I don't use that for any development second opinions, but I um use it for front-end development. I use it at work actually now. We use it for front-end development, not anti-gravity, just the CLI.
Mhm. So
Here,
Lauren is.
if you
Yeah.
open that, and you can just adjust the settings in there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Cool.
change?
For codecs,
Yeah.
verbosity,
It's
verbosity, and some other bits and bobs. Like you could change the resetting to default to extra high reasoning, for example, by default.
All right. Can you see my screen, people?
Yep.
So do you
Charlie Sheen.
recognize that? Does it look familiar?
Yeah, I've watched it.
no.
I've watched the whole series.
I know the actor. That's all. I don't know the
So
series.
so this is it, right?
Yeah, I've seen that on your LinkedIn. Yeah.
But the interesting part was there was nowhere in my prompt that had 2.5 men. There was nowhere in my prompt that had their pictures.
Oh,
Do you know why?
Well, I do. So part of the problem or the opportunity, as I like to say, is that the images I put up actually were part of a set, right? But I put up animations, not real people. So when it tried to find similar real world thing, it actually created related characters also for me. Now, the story that I put in there was satire, and satire and comedic satire is overrepresented with things like 2.5 Men. The technical story I put in there was romantic satire with a sci-fi twist, right? It literally matches more Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf, I don't know if people of a certain age. It's
Yeah,
another
no,
show,
no,
right?
that one.
Okay. So, but the thing is, it's like, well, the exact match would have been Red Dwarf, but 2.5 Men was more prolific and more represented in the data.
Mm.
And the other part was my stuff was romantic dating, candlelit dinner. So the video was exactly what I said, but the intention was wrong. So I went down a rabbit hole to figure out all the nuances. And the thing was, they were all very small, minor things for me to like fix. So I ended up like spending time fixing stuff. And first part was, before I fixed it, even though I can sort of get back the stuff, I should have frozen the model. So I said, like, this is version blah, blah, blah. So I can always get back to that version. I didn't. So I have to like go like the long way around to retrace it on in Git. The next bit was that whilst I was frustrated I got that, what did I get? I got a world model. Those characters were related. So it wasn't just like random. Those were separate scenes, but they had the brothers related, right? So it was really it was like a big fail, but it was really, really exciting. Um, so anyway, so that was my little journey, all
So
from a text prompt.
is it a cross contamination or what will it be?
No, it's to
Well,
do with how the data is trained. So the actual
train
data,
data. Mm.
yeah, the actual data that's trained, if you actually ask for comedic satire, right? If it had generated with the characters that I provided, it probably would have just done some sort of transformation on those characters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we keep thinking it's generating something brand new, but it isn't. It's based on something.
Yeah, some background noise. Yeah, anyway, yeah, this is pretty exciting. And also if you look at the latent space with diffusion models, maybe stable diffusion was very interesting to find out. Reverse engineer the training data back in the days, like 1-2 years ago. Now it's maybe more difficult with Nano Banana and to play around because it's so filtered. But Stable Diffusion was quite a free model with less filtering. Yeah, but yeah, it's I understand where you're coming from. What I wanted to ask from anybody who tried Claude Flow, that have you used it for complete development or just for research or for both? How do you
I've only
usually
used it for research.
I've used it
only for research
all the way through to end product. So,
and product?
Yeah.
which I'm happy to demonstrate next meeting, but I haven't quite. I've just got a little bit left to finish on some of the semantic matching side, and then that's all done.
And how do you
Yeah.
find it for end product?
Not too bad. It's not been too bad. I've tried other things and it's been a bit more challenging. Yeah, it seems to have been getting better, which is interesting. So I guess that's maybe because I'm using it more and more. As I said, but I found breaking it down and then doing features and using the swarms and Hive Mind a lot more tended to enable me to crack through the features and then reviewing, like just making sure I'd high level review everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Robert,
it's
I
very
have a
useful.
question.
Yeah, shoot.
Did you go through all those individual command lines, like with the agent DB, when you use the vector, when do you what to keep in the memory, and Or you just say, okay, these are the features, just make it work in the Swarm mode.
I don't tend to like to let it build the whole thing. I tend to get it to build little Spark bits of all of it, and then use those to kind of like piggyback off to like get the hive mind then to build those.
Yeah, but what about the additional part? Because what I struggled was I didn't put enough effort is to actually understand how to give the commands to use it to make the most out of the technology behind it, rather than just while coding and texting. I will need to remember the key, what to keep in the memory, or the how what it needs to learn. Have you used the agent DB? Because there's the different ways of commands that
Yeah,
you'll need to remember. Giving the key, remembering that I find it a bit like, okay, it
I've
might be too much
used
for me to learn it.
I've
Instead,
used
I
Agent
did something
DB.
else.
I've
Yeah.
used Agent DB more for like its actual like for its like via the agentic flow part. Because I found it very useful for like for recording people's clicks and all of those things. I haven't
Like
actually necessarily
storing
used it
stuff.
for a Claude, yeah, like, and it's very good at learning that way. And the Rub vector stuff's very useful there as well. Rather than trying to use it directly for like running the Claude Flow kind of like code generation. It was much more useful to use it for like kind of yeah, essentially using it for
Uh,
database kind of actual management and like learning as it's going and improving the what it's getting out of like semantic matching and all of those things. That was much more useful there than I think actually from Claude Flow.
I'll try to find, but Chris, I met him in this platform, so I don't know him in
Mm,
person, but I have seen his posts, and he has a GitHub repository that shows the best practices of how to use it, and it has much more additional stuff as well. But the way that he is using was quite cheeky, and then I find it quite okay. Maybe I should go give it a try. So it was literally giving all the way of using the Cloudflow and AgentDB and all the other individual bits in one
mm,
prompt, and then
Mhm.
giving that file in each command, like on each prompt, saying read this and implement what am I saying based on that, because it's too much for me to remember. And then the way that he solved this issue was just giving all the information on each command. Obviously, too much token, like it blows the context quite quickly, but that helped. That's why I
mm.
was asking.
Yeah, that does sound quite tiresome. So
Yeah. I'll see if maybe it might help you as well. It
yeah, it'd
helped
be
me.
useful to see. I'm sure there's
And
much better ways to use it still than I know. Because Ruben seems to be able to get through stuff like crazy fast, and I'm like, how do you do that at that speed? You're either really, really like know what you're doing with it, or I'm missing a few steps.
You missed his confession of how much he spent on tokens.
There,
It's
yeah, but
okay. It's part of the addiction. It's fine.
yeah, yeah.
And would you say that AgentDB and RuVector are complementary
I've had to work out how
methods?
to use them together because that would
Yeah.
really made no sense to me for a while. And now I've worked it out, it makes sense. Yes, they do complement each other, but it's really hard to know how they work together. Um,
Yeah, it's quite organic and DIY.
and it started trying to like put memory files in my like locally, and I was like, I don't want that. That's not right. Like I needed like a database, and then kind of yeah, so then kind of having to work out how to actually make it
Mm.
function properly as a database was kind of the key. And then once we got that, then that was all good. Um, yeah.
I think I can share what I have done. I sh sent the link for uh, the video that tells how to use the Cloudflow and all this stuff. If
Oh,
you have
cool.
time, I think that will be helpful. And
Yeah.
and also the first part of it is the research tool. Even though I don't need to research as much, the way that he will teach me a lot about how to create a meta prompt and a bigger super prompt, and then delegate all the individual parts of research in a synchronous or asynchronous way to the cloud. So I played with that for almost like a
Mm.
week every
Interesting.
night. So that was amazing. So He's delivering great stuff.
Yeah,
I'll have a look at
I,
that.
I want to watch his videos as well on my to-do list.
Yeah,
And
give it a go. I really liked it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause I saw on one of the Discord things where it was talking about that you can use asynchronous, like Claude, native Claude stuff to generate,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so you can
That's
basically
how I
like
learned
scan
it.
it all the way up. And I was like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna find out. So that's part of my
Like
to-do
try
list.
the research prompt, and then it creates a super prompt. And I learned how that super prompt delegates. Like it has a flow, literally. Start with this, and then run those in parallel, gather all this information together, and then run this another sequential flow. So that was a good example. Maybe it might help you as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a look because I saw it. 'Cause I think I was asking about like cause I was asking about like scraping data, and then that someone put it on there as a reply, but I don't know who that was. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But I need to learn how to do that still.
Okay.
yeah,
So if you have time, I can go through the BMAT very briefly and then
Yeah,
show what I have done. Again, it was like a couple weeks back, but anyway, I'll see how much of that still works.
okay,
So with
that's
the
good.
BMAT, we start with like a discovery. So that has an agent which has those mental models embedded where we can run either free flow brainstorm or market research. So we create what we really want to build, like we are talking to business analysts, including all those different ways of, like this has almost more than 20 different ways of building mental models of what you want to build. And then you can run the research. Obviously, they're all optional. And then you create a product brief. So that is very high level one. So with that, well, actually, this might have been slightly changed, but anyway.
Are these
Uh,
parallel or sequential?
uh, no, these ones are sequential.
Mhm.
Well, obviously, if you want to run in parallel, but they are all involving you to contribute. It asks you questions, the right questions.
Yeah.
So that that's why I say it makes you think the things that you don't think uh, regarding the project that you are building. If you have very much
Mm.
well-defined, very clear, exact requirements of what you want to build, and you don't want to spend any time and deliver it in a niche shape and form, again, this might not be the best. That's why they're all optional.
Hmm.
And then like this might take like hours, I would say 6 to 7 hours if you're really putting an effort of brainstorming what you're trying to build. And the second phase is the PRD. We create a PRD, and then depending on the UI, we create the user UX as well. And they all have a separate agents. So all those agents are built on helping. Obviously, you use underneath skills of if you're using cloud and all, etc. But the more beneficial part is this flow is embedded on the framework. So it guides you and it reminds you how to do things if you are missing it.
Hmm.
And then once you have the well-defined of PRD documents, including the UI, obviously the create UX, I think this is slightly outdated because now it is much more enhanced about creating the brand, the language, and the
Mm.
user interface components. What is the norms and the themes and all those details. They're all important because after a while, the it has been forgotten. You will need to remind it all the time, and then you debug it with the playwright. So this is preventing all those extra reminding or hallucinations or well-defined. You don't need to think and inform the agent again and again for the things that you already informed. And another phase is the architecture. So then you have a time for designing about architecture and you validate architecture. Now, by that time, you are well defined in terms of what you want to build, why you want to build, how you want to build, how the UI, the user stories, the storytelling, the creatives, and the data flow, the user flow, the tech stack, everything is very much detailed. The rest is more about creating the epics. How do you want to deliver?
hmm
Waterfall, or agile way, or the breakdown, vertical slices, horizontal slices. Again, that is up to you.
Mm.
And And for that stories, also this is optional, you can create a test design as well. If you're more into the TDD uh, kind of work or BDD kind of work, or if you want to introduce all the NFRs, like non-functional requirements, the performance test, or the securities and all that stuff, you can spend as much as time and then well-defined before implementing things. So this is a typical flow where wherever you go in a like developer in a software development house or
Hmm.
in software development teams of the big companies, this is typical workflow, which most of the new vibe coders are not much very familiar with, or they haven't put enough time and effort to actually think about.
And this
Uh, yeah,
this should be the biggest I mean the invest the most time in
exactly.
for these phases.
I spend hours and hours and hours here than actual implementing. The implementing is more about me observing, confirming, reviewing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then when I see things are not working, then I blame myself in a way, wow, that was not clear enough. So that it is a signal for me to think about
Mm.
my thought process, design thinking, and how I articulated. Did I miss it, or did haven't touched it or misarticulated? So this part, I think, is the framework of the BMAT that is much more beneficial.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
once you have those epics and stories, like with the Cloudflow, what I have done is I have done all this work, create the PRD, actually created the epics and stories as well, but haven't done the technical context, and then give it to I think there's a script that's PRD to spec in the Ruby's repository. I just give all well defined to him his way of implementing and then implement it in his way. So that is the main differentiation why I want to first explain you guys. So that is the first part. So, I mean, it says phase three, but I take them all in one chunk because it's more about planning
Hmm.
and putting me contributing. Obviously, it helps a lot, and then I can negotiate and learn from the way that they're
Yeah.
thinking as well.
Yes, this has been quite interesting because like one of the things I've literally been doing the past couple of weeks was kind of along these similar lines because obviously like from a like more like CTO fractional CTO kind of perspective, you need to be able to track the epics and everything that's going.
Hmm.
And you can't with Claude and stuff, also it just does it. Sometimes it just like, it doesn't really tick anything off. So you need that level of control there. So I was wondering with this kind of like, what does it like? Is it like an assigned and then the agents go and do it, or is it just like a cool, we've got a sprint plan, you just go and do all of that, or do you give them like the breakdown of the like you get the epic and then you get all of the like the breakdown of the features and then it goes and drags the features and builds the
Hmm.
features, or is this just like is there like breaks in the phases, or is it just like a
You
snippet?
get epics and then stories by story by story. I was just
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, I
add,
think it
yeah, go ahead,
depends
sorry.
on the level of the work. Like it by default categorizes in a four different level, like quick and dirty one, a mid as
Hmm.
like a very small one, a brownfield one, or greenfield enterprise level one. I can't remember the exact names, but there's a four
Yeah.
category. Depending on that, sometimes you just need to say, okay, this is my product brief, make it work. Or
Yeah.
if it is a much bigger one, if you know that some other people will be working, or eventually you will need the living documentation of how this ended up being here, so then you will need more fine-grained epics. And if you want to even go in much more detail, which I tend to prefer, I even break those epics to the stories as well.
Oh, it's kind of like
Okay.
wondering, it's kind of, do you assign those to like optimal agents and then like essentially
Yeah.
then you just have a runner and it just goes and just that agent just goes and picks those up, builds them in,
So
most of the case
for this
synchronously.
this this phase, I do it synchronously. I pretty much do most of those synchronously. I will explain where I tend to do things
Mm.
because these are all creating what you want to build.
Yeah.
And the epic and stories level is how I want to build,
Yeah.
in what order, what's my approach on delivering things. And even though we define the epics and stories, the main part that is quite helpful that I find is creating the story context for those stories. That story context is, yes, I know what to build. I know what this epic is about. I know what individual works. But for those individual works, let me check with the architecture. Let me check what exact library, what version, and how, and what has been done before, so that
Yeah.
I give much more precise information to the agent in when it is implementing the story. So that
Yeah,
takes
definitely
time.
makes a
That
lot of
takes
sense.
time.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of terminals. I run in one term. I make one bunch of stories ready. While this is implementing, I make the story context ready on the second terminal. I do bounce backs between all individual agents. So it's unlike I'm not the way that I use is not like, okay, here's all the information, go and make it work for me. So I try to A, I want to learn. B, I want to observe
Mm.
because I don't want to spend like a week and then realize, oh shit, that is not what I wanted. So I'm much more
Yeah.
engaged. And
You
that
avoid a lot of
I
problems.
was gonna just
yeah,
say in the V6 you have a few good tools, like you have the quick flow solo dev. So if you want to vibe code, you could do that.
yeah,
But the difference between that and like just asking Claude Code or Codex to build something, for example, is BMAD. It comes with a lot of this context that is, by the way, it uses context very efficiently. So it pulls only from the relevant context that it needs because it has like a
Mm.
YAML structure
yeah,
backing all of that. But what I was gonna say is the vibe, the quick flow solo dev, if you wanna just vibe code something really quickly, is really useful because it uses industry best practices like agile development, etc.
Mm.
To
mm,
basically write the code, unlike Claude code that would is not much different from the Claude you get on the web, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to add is in V6 you can build custom agents. So for example, after phase 3 and phase 4,
What
if
do
you
you
don't
mean
want to
V6?
yeah.
BMAT V6 version 6.
Ah, right. Okay, so it has versioning already.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a V6
So,
for the method. It's quite big now. It's an MPX
yeah,
install.
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Sorry for the interruption.
no, not a problem
Yeah,
at all. I was just gonna say between phase 3 and phase 4, right? Those who are familiar with the BMAT method in the past, all you had is a dev agent and a QA agent to do the development work. But in the
Mm.
new BMAT method, you can build your own agents for the project. So you can ask that there's an agent that builds agents within BMAT. And
yeah,
you build an agent specific to your project. So for example, at some of the stuff I used it for, I have my own developer agent that is specific to the context of that project that is a so-called expert in that
yeah,
area. And it has generated all of these. It doesn't load them in the live context, but they're like these files that it can reference of what's useful in that industry. And
Mm.
then it has a QA tester agent, and the QA tester agent, for example, has the relevant MCPs that it needs to test that
Yeah.
project. So not the whole of Claude has those MCPs, but um, are there only MCPs that will be of that, like for example, the Chrome Dev Tools or something like that, or you
Yeah.
might want the Figma NCP or something only for those
oh,
specific agents. I just find that whole workflow
yeah.
really useful. In
Just
parallel, I've run up to 6 of them in the past as well, so it's
yeah.
That's
pretty
cool.
good.
Well, just a small add
I
to that,
offer.
Diego. You remember I
Yeah.
mentioned the extending the existing dev. Initially, yes, there's an agent for building a new agent, but also I don't want to create an agent for all those specific ones. Like there's already existing agents. I just want to enhance them. Honestly, now all those agents like PM, dev, architect, analyst, or whatever. Again, this might be quite old version. I haven't touched this one. I can give an identity
Mm,
so that it knows about the patterns that I want to use, what I want, what kind of SDKs that I'm using, like what kind of standards, what kind of protocols that I want to do, what kind of micropayments, so that the more
Mm.
specialists if they are for my project, they are much more, you know,
Interesting.
yeah, adjusting.
I'm
So
I'm I'm curious if you can show the UX designer YAML
uh,
just
I
very
haven't
quickly.
enhanced, I haven't enhanced that. This is the not
Uh-huh.
customized version, but I can show you the default one.
I do
With
like
the
that
tool.
idea quite a lot that you can do that. That's quite because Otherwise, otherwise you've got to go through the whole thing of like trying to extend the class and then kind of go over the top and writing your own stuff in. I like the whole
Yeah,
like YAML, like the whole YAML kind of just being able to slot that
yeah,
in. That way, it's quite useful.
I think the
Uh-huh.
superpower is like the super context efficient,
Yeah.
and in some of the newer tools, I think it basically searches, but then they hot load context and they remove
mhm,
stuff from context. Because I noticed in the recent
Mm.
versions of Claude and Codex, like sometimes the content that's doing something, it's working, working, working. The context is like 40% left, and then suddenly it's 70% context left. So like
oh,
the
Mhm.
yeah. And what I love about this is maybe we are jumping from one thing to another, but very context consuming. But a great feature is there's a party mode. So you can onboard 10 agents at the same time, ask one question, and watch them to discuss between each other, all from different
Mm.
point of angle. And I
Mhm.
learned tons of shit from that. Like, oh,
party
like
mode, yeah.
Do they have a web access as well? Like they search?
sorry.
Yes.
Do they
Yes.
search?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can connect to any MCP, like that. You can use any tools.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the party mode is amazing, and they run the party mode. Well, maybe I think we have been talking quite a lot. I'll show something. So let me quickly wrap this up. We created sprint plan, we created story, the developer develops, the code review, and then test. And by the end of the epic, let's say, they run in retrospective because sometimes on the way you learn about, okay, this is the default way you do it. I now learn it because I didn't know it before, but I don't want to change everything. That is a learning on the way, and that retrospective is happening just like a typical retrospective ritual in a agile team, if you're any familiar with that. So all the team
Yeah.
discuss what went well, what went wrong, what we learned from that. So next time, what should we pay attention? So next time for the next epic, that's a lesson learned that they are also onboarding. Let's say that if you have a specific way of implementing a one web page or one controller, like one flow, there's 10 different ways, and you just prefer one and it's not necessarily one any better than another one, maybe. So they can learn it on the way on the retrospective as well. So that is very briefly. I can talk much more, but if you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer that. Apart from that, I can demonstrate what I have done, and I hope it still works. Do you have any question?
Can you work in groups, like as a team with this method, or just solo?
I have been doing it more solo.
Would it
Mm.
integrating with like tools like well, because obviously because you're creating the epics, you're creating the stories. Would it integrate with things like
Like
uh
Linear or Jira or
yeah, Jira, those kind of
the
things, or even
Asana.
just if you want, yeah, because then that would be kind of I've seen a lot of talk around people like being like, well, why has no one like worked out the project management side of these tools yet? They go and build everything, but we still need to have the project management.
Mhm.
Um, so
No,
I think that
I think the by default they have the connectors, which I haven't tried. So I
yeah, I
have
mean it's quite cool if
seen
they
I
do.
have seen I have seen the code or the libraries out there in the BMS repository, but I haven't tried myself. So I think that should be straightforward to because they are literally MD files, and it is just a different representation and the storage of the same information in a different system. Because typically when we say what is an epic and what is a story is, let's see if I still remember this. Okay, these are the okay. So this has the epic file and the epics list, and it has all the individual details about the functional and non-functional requirements,
Yeah,
and
cool.
and
That's
then it has this. It has all specific about okay, what is the first epic, the second epic, the third epic, and then we create the the, 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 the actual the you remember I said that it creates context files where it has all the
yeah,
information. So the story is not just a story, it has all the individual what I want, how it leads,
yeah,
there are the details. So when you write code, you don't give so much of this information in one prompt. Whereas when you create a story like this, it has pretty much all the details about which SDKs that they're getting from, what is the preferred library and which version, so that
mm,
I don't need to worry. And then let's say that somehow the context compacted or the next day I came back, I don't need to remember because most of those is typically in our brain as a developers.
Yeah, that makes a
Okay,
lot of sense.
and you can reference to other files inside here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And some of them is part of the workflow, so it knows how to read, what to read from where. So I don't need to literally, like by default, architecture is there. Then there's an architecture MD as well, and the technical context details. They're all. If you want the flexibility, you can override anything. But if you're familiar with this flow, and then if you want to stick with it, it just works out of the box.
Mhm. Cool.
y-
I'm just
yeah,
conscious
what
on the
else?
time that we are over 1
All
hour.
right.
Right.
So
Yeah, I know I ask a lot of questions, so I'm
So,
really
and
nosy.
this is what I built very quickly. So that is the prediction swarm. So there's multiple agents. What happens is, I don't know how you're familiar with the X402, the micropayments,
Yep.
the protocol, and the ERC 8004. I forget the identity
Mhm.
of the actual agents. So all those agents, this is running on their testnet now on blockchain.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
They make product prediction. Obviously, based on the prediction, they have a reputation. So the identity has all the agents has a verifiable identity. And
Mhm.
some of them make those predictions, and another agents checks the identity, the reputations, and depending on the reputations, they buy their predictions. And obviously, the price of the prediction is changing based off the reputation score. So these are all running on testnet, something called zero G, zero gravity, and yeah, obviously this. Okay, so let me take this down. It has been running for 25 minutes, and each minute they make a random prediction depending on their type. This is very like this always stays always down. This is hybrid. This is random. This is always by. So uh, it's not intelligent about the prediction system, but it gets the real Bitcoin price. They make a prediction for some business logic, and they negotiate the price and reputation. The buyer one buys, and the seller wants like there's the total earnings. So the whole economy, agent to agent communication, and the
Oh,
micropayments
okay.
and the identity has been all
Yeah,
implemented.
the negotiation agents.
Yeah, and yeah, it comes with all the observability and you know how things are working, and if you're familiar with the observability and the live ops, they're all embedded. And this was more kind of like my proof of concept. Okay, let me build something that I want to learn and that to demonstrate if I can build my default approach with BMAT things.
Mhm. That's interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
How can I get it? Where are you? I think I lost.
I've seen that
Lost you guys.
some of
You lost the call.
Okay, stop here. Yeah.
yeah, thanks
Sorry.
very much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Merry
Yeah, it was
Christmas.
interesting. And Merry
Happy New
Christmas,
Merry
Year.
Christmas.
Cheers. Merry
Happy New
Christmas.
Year,
Yeah.
and then we continue fresh next year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
Okay.
listening, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye.